the Republic of the Philippines has taken a bold strategic stance in one of the most contested maritime regions in the world, the South China Sea, while simultaneously celebrating a major offshore energy discovery that could significantly reshape its economic and strategic trajectory. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., who leads the archipelago nation, has been maneuvering on multiple fronts, asserting Manila's maritime rights, reinforcing national energy security, and engaging in delicate diplomacy with regional powers. The evolving situation highlights how energy resources and geopolitical competition have become closely intertwined in Southeast Asia's most volatile waters. In early 2026, Philippine officials announced the discovery of a large offshore natural gas deposit located within waters that the government asserts are part of its exclusive economic zone. The find lies near the already important Manila gas field, which for years has served as one of the country's primary domestic sources of fossil fuel energy. President Marcos described the discovery in strong economic terms, framing it as a potential cornerstone of the country's efforts to reduce dependence on imported hydrocarbons amid global energy market volatility. This helps Malay's contribution and strengthens our domestic gas supply for many years to come, he said, highlighting the potential for the reservoir to fortify the nation's energy base. Government officials have estimated that, when developed, the field could supply millions of households annually. For an economy struggling with the high cost of imported fuel, particularly amid supply shocks driven by conflicts in other parts of the world, such a resource offers both economic relief and strategic opportunity. Energy analysts in Manila note, however, that moving from discovery to production is far from straightforward. Offshore gas fields require significant investment, advanced technology, and often international partnerships, something that can be politically sensitive since Philippine law restricts foreign ownership of natural resources. That restriction could shape the types of contracts Manila will pursue to develop the find. Nonetheless, the discovery represents a rare piece of good news for the country's long-term energy planners. If harnessed effectively, it could help reduce dependence on imported petroleum and electricity generation fuels, support industrial expansion, and provide leverage in negotiations over broader maritime issues. The energy discovery bears an extra layer of importance because of where it was found. Within the area Manila labels the West Philippine Sea, overlapping with broad portions of the South China Sea that are also claimed by Beijing. China asserts sovereignty over nearly the entire South China Sea based on historical maps and interpretations of ancient navigational records. That claim, often centered around what is known as the Nine-Dash Line, has been rejected by international tribunals, particularly in a 2016 award under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. The tribunal ruled that China's expansive claims lacked legal basis and affirmed the rights of littoral states like the Philippines to their exclusive economic zones and continental shelves. Despite this ruling, China has continued to maintain a strong presence in the waters of the South China Sea, including areas near features such as Scarborough Shoal, Reed Bank, and Tetu Island. In recent months, Manila has reported increased sightings of Chinese research vessels and maritime militia ships operating close to reefs and shoals that Manila considers part of its sovereign territory. On one notable occasion, Philippine aircraft were scrambled to issue radio warnings to a Chinese-flagged research vessel near a contested reef. The Philippine government described the action as necessary to uphold its sovereign rights and jurisdiction over the waters. Chinese officials, however, reject Manila's warnings, insisting that their vessels were operating in accordance with international law in what they consider their own waters. They have repeated long-standing statements asserting expansive historical rights, framing foreign criticism as interference in regional affairs. Manila, for its part, insists that such positions have no standing under international law. These confrontations have taken place against a backdrop of a more assertive Chinese Coast Guard presence in the region. Philippine naval and civilian observers have repeatedly noted Chinese vessels near features like Sabina Shoal and Titu Island, raising concerns about a potential escalation in maritime face-offs. For decades, the West Philippine Sea dispute has defined Manila's relationship with Beijing in strategic terms. What has changed in recent years, however, is the combination of heightened Chinese maritime activity with the Philippines' growing sense of confidence, political and institutional, in ASE. Writing its rights under international law, President Marcos has repeatedly stated that while the Philippines will continue to defend its sovereign rights, it also seeks constructive dialogue with China. In late March 2026, Manila and Beijing resumed talks under the bilateral consultation mechanism, an institutional channel that has long been used to discuss maritime issues, including fishing access, energy exploration, and confidence-building measures designed to lessen the risk of clashes at sea. The discussions covered a range of issues, from energy cooperation to improving communication between coast guards. Both sides emphasized the importance of stable energy markets and constructive engagement, as global disruptions in energy flows have made reliable supply a shared priority. The Philippines has also pointed to expanded regional economic cooperation as a way to reduce tensions. President Marcos suggested that the recent energy shocks driven by Middle Eastern conflicts, coupled with the urgent need for affordable fuel, could provide impetus for renewed engagement, including on energy projects of mutual benefit. Yet the talks have not been without friction. Chinese officials have at times conditioned cooperation on what they describe as Manila's demonstration of sincerity, language that Philippine officials take with skepticism. To critics in Manila, the condition is seen as diplomatic maneuvering rather than genuine confidence building. Still, the overall approach from the Philippine government has been to keep diplomatic channels open, even while asserting sovereign rights in the West Philippine Sea. Manila's strategy reflects a broader balancing act, defending territorial claims without provoking unwarranted escalation, while promoting cooperative ventures that could benefit its economy. The South China Sea is far more than a bilateral matter between Manila and Beijing. It is a strategic corridor through which a significant percentage of global maritime trade passes each year, including energy shipments bound for markets in East Asia for the United States and other allies. Freedom of navigation through the South China Sea remains a core security interest. Washington has repeatedly reaffirmed its support for the Philippines, condemning aggressive actions such as the use of water cannon or ramming incidents involving Philippine vessels near disputed features. A mutual defense treaty between the United States and the Philippines provides a framework for security cooperation that officials say underscores shared commitments in the region. In addition to the United States, other Asian nations have watched the situation closely. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, of which the Philippines holds the rotating chair, has urged collaborative frameworks to address shared challenges, especially as conflicts abroad drive instability in global energy markets. Regional leaders have pushed for joint efforts to mitigate the economic fallout of disrupted oil flows, including proposals to fast-track arrangements for oil sharing and strategic reserves. Despite these efforts, implementation has remained uneven, reflecting the difficulty ASEAN faces in reconciling the diverse interests of member states, some of which seek closer economic ties with China, while others prioritize security cooperation with external partners. For Manila, the new gas find is not just an economic asset, it carries strategic weight in the context of the maritime dispute. The reservoir's location within the Philippine claimed exclusive economic zone underscores long-standing arguments about the right of coastal states to develop resources in their own waters without fear of interference. In public remarks, President Marcos has stressed that leveraging indigenous resources is essential to national resilience. Domestically, the discovery could help reduce the country's reliance on imported energy, which has recently become both more expensive and less secure. due to global disruptions. Reducing fuel imports could lower electricity costs, strengthen energy security, and support industrial competitiveness. Internationally, the find strengthens Manila's legal and diplomatic position by emphasizing its right to explore and develop resources in its territorial waters under international law. The Philippines reinforces legal principles that underpin its claims in the West Philippine Sea. Energy experts have also noted that the timing of the discovery amid shifting global energy dynamics could attract foreign investment, technology transfer, and international partnerships. Such partnerships could bring not only capital, but also geopolitical backing, further embedding the Philippines in broader regional and global energy networks. The coming months and years will likely test Manila's ability to navigate competing pressures, defending sovereign rights, pursuing economic growth, managing diplomatic ties, and ensuring domestic stability. For Ferdinand Marcos Jr., the challenge is multifaceted. Domestically, he must oversee the responsible development of the new energy field in ways that deliver tangible benefits to Filipino citizens. Internationally, he must balance pressure from competing powers while maintaining productive, if cautious, engagement with China. As the Philippines continues to assert its maritime rights, the West Philippine Sea will remain a critical arena for both regional security and resource competition. The presence of valuable hydrocarbon reserves adds a powerful incentive for Manila to press its claims, just as ongoing Chinese maritime activity ensures that the dispute will not fade. Ultimately, the Philippines' approach reflects a blend of legal confidence, strategic calculation, and diplomatic engagement, a posture shaped by evolving realities in both regional geopolitics and global energy markets. In a region where historical grievances and future opportunities collide, Manila's decisions in the calm years may well shape not only its own future, but also the wider balance of influence in the Indo-Pacific.